February 9th, Leviticus 24 and 25. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring you clear oil of pressed olives for the light, to make the lamps burn continually. Outside the veil of the witness and the tent of appointment, Aharon is to arrange it from evening until morning before Yah continually, Allah forever throughout your generations. He is to arrange the lamps on the clean gold lampstand before Yah continually. And you shall take fine flour and bake 12 cakes with it, 2/10 of an ephah in each cake. And you shall set them in 2 rows, 6 in a row, on the clean table before Yah. And you shall put clear frankincense on each row, and it shall be on the bread as a remembrance portion, an offering made by fire to Yah. On every Sabbath he is to arrange it before Yah continually from the children of Israel, an everlasting covenant. And it shall be for Aharon and his sons, and they shall eat it in the set-apart place, because it is most set apart to him from the offerings of Yah made by fire, an everlasting law. And the son of an Israeli woman, whose father was a Mitzrayim man, went out among the children of Israel. And the Israeli woman's son and a man of Israel strove in the camp. And Israel's woman's son blasphemed the name and cursed. So they brought him to Moshe. Now his mother's name was Shelomith, daughter of Dibri, of the tribe of Dan. And they put him under guard, that it might be declared to them at the mouth of Yah. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, Bring the one who is cursed outside the camp, and all those who hurt him shall lay their hands on his head, and all the congregation shall stone him. And speak to the children of Israel, saying, Anyone who curses his Elohim shall bear his sin, and he who blasphemes the name of Yah shall certainly be put to death. And all the congregation certainly stoned him, the stranger as well as the native. When he blasphemes the name, he is put to death. And a man who strikes the bean of any man shall certainly be put to death. Strikes the bean of any man shall certainly be put to death. And who strikes a beast repays it, body for body. And when a man inflicts a blemish upon his neighbor, as he has done, so it is done to him. Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. As he inflicts a blemish upon him, so it is done to him. And he who strikes a beast repays it. And he who strikes a man to death is put to death. You have one right ruling for the stranger and for the native, for I am Yah, your Elohim. And Moshe spoke to the children of Israel, and they brought the one who cursed outside the camp, and stoned him with stones. And the children of Israel did as Yah commanded Moshe. Leviticus 25. And Yah spoke to Moshe on Mount Sinai, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you come into the land which I give you, then the land shall observe a Sabbath to Yah. 6 years you sow your field, and 6 years you prune your harvest and gather its fruit. But in the 7th year the land is to have a Sabbath rest, a Sabbath to Yah. Do not sow your field, and do not prune your vineyard. Do not reap what grows of its own in your harvest. Do not gather the grapes of your unpruned vine, for it is a year of rest in the land. And the Sabbath of the land shall be for you for food, for you and your servant, and for your female servant, and your hired servant, and for the stranger who sojourns with you, and for your livestock and the beasts that are in your land. All its crops are for food. And you shall count 7 Sabbaths of years for yourselves, 7 times 7 years. And the time of the 7 Sabbaths of years shall be to you 49 years. Then you shall sound a shofar sound on the 10th day of the seventh new moon on Yom HaKippurim, cause a shofar to sound throughout all your land. And you shall set the 50th year apart, and proclaim release throughout all the land, to all its inhabitants. It is a Yoel for you. And you shall return to each his possession, and each of you return to his clan. The 50th year is a Yovel to you. You do not sow nor reap what grows of its own, nor gather from its unpruned vine. It is a Yovel. It is set apart to you. Eat from the field its crops. In the year of this Yovel, let each one of you return to his possession. And when you sell whatever to your neighbor, or buy from the land of your neighbor, do not exploit one another. According to the number of years after the Yovel you buy from your neighbor, and according to the number of years of crops he sells to you. According to the greater number of years, you increase its price, and according to the fewer number of years, you diminish its price, because he sells to you according to the number of years of the crops. And do not oppress one another, but you shall fear your Elohim, for I am Yah, your Elohim. And you shall do my laws and guard my right rulings, and shall do them. And you shall dwell in the land in safety. And the land shall yield its fruit, and you shall eat to satisfaction, and shall dwell there in safety. And since you might say, what do we eat in the 7th year, since we do not sow nor gather in our crops? Therefore I have commanded my blessing to you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth the crop for 3 years. And you shall sow in the 8th year, and eat of the old crop until the 9th year. Eat of the old crop until its crop comes in. And the land is not to be sold beyond reclaim, for the land is mine. For you are sojourners and settlers with me. And I provide for a redemption for the land, and all the land of your possession. When your brother becomes poor, and has sold some of his possession, and his redeemer, a close relative, comes to redeem it, then he shall redeem what his brother sold. And when the man has no one to redeem it, but he himself becomes able to redeem it, then let him count the years since its sale, and return the remainder to the man to whom sold it, that he shall return to his possession. And if his hand has not found enough to give it back to him, then what was sold shall remain in the hand of him who bought it until the year of Yovel, and it shall be released in the Yovel, and he shall return to his possession. And when a man sells a house in a walled city, then his right of redemption shall be at the end of the year after it is sold. His right of redemption lasts a year. But if it is not redeemed within a complete year, then the house in the walled city shall be established beyond reclaim to the buyer of it throughout his generations. It is not released in the Yovel. The houses of villages, however, which have no wall around them, are reckoned as the field of the country. A right of redemption belongs to it, and they are released in the Yovel. As for the cities of the Levites, and the houses in the cities of their possession, the Levites have a right of redemption forever. And that which is redeemed from the Levites, both the sale of a house and the city of his possession, shall be released in the year of Yovel, because the houses and the cities of the Levites are their possession in the midst of the children of Israel. But the field of the open land of their cities is not sold, for it is their everlasting possession. And when your brother becomes poor, and his hand has failed you, then you shall strengthen him, and he shall live with you, like a stranger or a sojourner. You take no interest from him, or profit, but you shall fear your Elohim, and your brother shall live with you. Do not lend him your silver on interest, and do not lend him your food for profit. I am Yah, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, to give you the land of Canaan, to be your Elohim. And when your brother who dwells with you becomes poor, and sells himself to you, do not make him serve as a slave, but as a hired servant, as a settler he is with you, and serves you until the year of Yovel. And then he shall leave you, he and his children with him, and shall return to his own clan, and even return to the possession of his fathers. For they are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Mitzrayim. They are not sold as slaves. Do not rule over him with harshness, but you shall fear your Elohim. And your male and female slaves, whom you have from the nations that are around you, from them you buy male and female slaves. And also from the sons of the strangers sojourning among you, from them you buy, and from their clans who are with you, which they shall bring forth in your land, and they shall be your property. And you shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them as a possession, for they are your slaves for all time. But over your brothers, the children of Israel, you do not rule with harshness, one over another. Now when a sojourner or a settler with you becomes rich, and your brother with him becomes poor, and sells himself to the settler or sojourner with you, or to a member of the sojourner's clan, after he has been sold, there is a right of redemption to him. One of his brothers does redeem him, or his uncle's son does redeem him, or anyone who is a close relative to him in his clan does redeem him, or if he is able, then he shall redeem himself. And he shall reckon with him who bought him. The price of his release shall be according to the number of years, from the year that he was sold to him until the year of Yovel, as the days of a hired servant, it is with him. If there are yet many years, according to them, he repays the price of his redemption from the silver of his purchase. And if few years are left until the year of Yovel, then he shall reckon with him, and according to his years he repays him the price of his redemption. He is with him as a yearly hired servant, and he does not rule with harshness over him before your eyes. And if he is not redeemed in these years, then he shall be released in the year of Yovel, he and his children with him, because the children of Israel are servants to me. They are my servants who I brought out of the land of Mitzrayim. I am Yah, your Elohim.